honest with you, so I'm going to tell you. It's because I made burritos, but they weren't just burritos. They were super burritos. You guys ever seen that stuff where it's half pork and half hamburger? I guess it's kind of a cost saving measure for some people. I don't know, man. I think it's bomb diggity. It's so good. Of course, I love pork. Oh, I eat lots of pork. Yes, I did get shut down last night. I absolutely got shut down. And then they reviewed the footage and said, oh, yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. Oh, I get kicked off a lot. Yeah. I get kicked off all the time. I'm that guy. Thank you. I'm going to need it. Oh, by the way, I moved most of them. My penny collection. I've been talking about this. I'm ready to let go of it. I have a lot of MS 65, 66, and 67 pennies. The really high ones, like the 67s and 68s, which I've got I'm going to say at least 100 of. Those are mostly 50s. Obviously, nothing's over 58, but they're mostly 50s. I do have a 1909 VDB in there. I've got what I have to say. Well, I have it's just under 2,000 of them that I'm selling. Now, I already agreed that, because there was a guy who called me who may buy them. Don't know. They might still be for sale. For all of you who have called me or texted me or whatever, that I said, no, they're sold. They may not be sold. So hold on to your pants. But I do have a few 09s. So I have a 1943D steel penny, which I believe should be a 68. It is flawless, absolutely gorgeous, proof-like, and it doesn't have any scratches, anything. I mean, it is beautiful. Now, I don't know what that is worth, so I will go to CoinFacts. I can't believe I just spelled the word coin wrong. Dyslexia is fun. Okay. CoinFacts. Boom. PCGS. Professional coin grading service. Craig's an interesting dude. I've known him for 30 years. All right, let's see here. Let's go to PCGS. Okay. GS. Cents. I have cents. Well, hello, Monica. Okay, here we are. Indian cent, Lincoln cent. I do have 50 or so Indian heads in there, but I mean, none of them are the type of Indian head where you'd go, oh my God, that's got to be worth a fortune. Yeah, they're nice, but nothing amazing. Okay. Wow. That's interesting. Type 2 stealing. Boom. So what do we get for a 43? I don't even want to look at a 43 bronze. I don't even want to look. I don't. I'm going to look anyway. All right. So what's the pop on a 68? Huh? No 68. Oh, 68. Okay. Ooh, 68 plus 14,000. Wow, that's crazy. 14,000. And there's 16,000 of them. That's surprising. So it's not a super rare coin, but I think it's reputation. Ooh, it's a Steely. Everybody loves the Steelies, man. What's not to love? So when PCGS popped it, oh, okay, I was wrong. Price guide says 16,000. That's what they're worth. Not there are 16,000. I thought that sounded really odd. There's 6 of them. MS 68 plus. MS 68, there's 170 of them. And they look like they're going for, what year is this? It looks like they're only going for about $3,000. So if it's a 68, $3,000. If it's 67, it's about $500. But it is one hell of a nice penny. And I got lucky. This is what happens when you buy 60,000 pennies and you sort every single one of them by hand. It's a great way to spend a lot of time not arguing with your soon-to-be ex-wife, which is exactly what I did with these coins. I literally sat with a huge magnifying glass and an intense light, and all night until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I would listen to podcasts about nerd stuff, and then I would just sort through these pennies and go price guide them, and because I was building a collection for somebody who paid a very good price for that huge penny collection. Now the question, of course, is, what's a complete penny collection worth? A lot. Because you have to understand that a complete penny collection goes from 1794 all the way up. And there are some pre-74s or pre-94 type coins that are extremely, extremely rare, like 1 or 2 in the world. And because of that, you can find pennies that are worth $800,000. Oh, as a matter of fact, let's go. Take a trip with me, folks. Let's go to a 1943 D over D. That's a double strike. Mint air. Ooh, okay. Barely noticeable, but how much are they worth? That's the big question. Uh-oh. Get out of here. Something weird about, I don't know what it is about, no. Okay. There's something very strange about using Chrome. There are times where if you touch it, it goes bananas, and it becomes, all you have to do is touch it and everything explodes, and the page is like 45 feet across, which of course your monitor doesn't get bigger, so you end up with one tiny little corner of it. Son of a bitch. Okay, now let's do this again. D over D, and if we go to the highest grade possible, they're not worth that much. $20,000 for a Steely. Now, you guys sitting down, you ready? You ready to get a little nutty here? Let's get a little crazy. A 1943 bronze. Because remember, they made steel pennies in 1943 because of the war effort. So they didn't make any bronze. Which means, how the hell did they make bronze if they didn't make bronze? Well, at the beginning of the run, they left some planchets, which are what pennies are called. All coins are called that before they're stamped into coins in the die. They left some in. Now, how many? Nobody's really sure. But I will say this. Oh, there's one. And it's right now, price guide value is $1,050,000, not pesos, not Iraqi dinars. Now, let's go to one that's even stranger. 43S. Let's see, a 43S. Well, there's only one of those in Mint State 63 condition, and that one's worth $1 million as well. Now, here's the one that I'm curious about. Let's go to this is odd. Let's look at the steel type. 43 bronze, okay. And then 40. I'm losing my marbles, man. Okay, so once we get past that, let's go to 44. And the 44 should be a bronze. I mean a steel 44. Yeah, there it is. I knew I wasn't crazy. And how much is that worth? So now, if you had those two pennies, you'd have $2 million. And if you had 44 steel penny, which of course they weren't supposed to make, then you would have an additional, not that much, 170,000. So, yeah, I think that, penny collections can be very expensive. Now, if you have one of the very, very, very first cents ever made, let's see, 1794, 1793, there we go. Sorry, 1793. 1793 chain cent. By the way, the chain cent was one of those really stupid things that the government did where we had just gotten out of bondage, so to speak, with England. And one of the very first coins we made had chains on it. And the people in the United States who got this coin said, chains? Who the hell decided to put chains on our currency? We just threw off the chains of bondage. At which point the mint went, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We should probably put like a wreath or something cool on there. And they did. Yes, he said that earlier. He did. Okay. Well, thank you for answering that for me. I don't know what he was asking. I didn't see that part. Anyway, so I've got some. Now here's what I've got: an absolute shit ton. And by the way, this is an actual measurement in Texas. For those of you who don't know, a shit ton is it's real. Okay. Let's look at some of these coins. Okay. I probably have at least 200 1958 D pennies in Mint State 66 or Mint State 65 condition, somewhere in there. These would be worth really? Are you going to give me a price, huh? Well, that sucks. Give me a price. Give me something. Wow, 800 million of them made. Now, this is something that's interesting about these. When you get to pennies like this, a lot of people say, well, if they made 800 million, then they're not very collectible. That's exactly what people said back then. So if there was a super low mintage like 1909 San Francisco Mint VDB with only, what was that, 835,000 made before it was stopped, people went, oh shit, only 835,000 made. That's going to be collectible. And so they all collected them. What do people do with collectible pennies? They put them away. So 100 years later, there are, I don't know, say 50,000 of them in perfect condition. Why? Well, because everybody knew they'd be collectible, so everybody put them away. They didn't go into circulation. So in circulated condition, they're worth a little. In perfect condition, they're worth a little more. But what about things like a 1958? Well, that's a little bit different because nobody saved those because there's 800,000 of them. They're not collectible. So in mint state 60 condition, there's a bazillion of them. They're not worth much, $1 or $2. But in this condition, in really, really good condition, let's see, $1,599 on eBay. Wow, that's a pretty good amount considering that they made so many of them. But that's the key to collecting pennies that had a big circulation. If you had a big circulation, yeah, that's for a 58D. Okay, so let's look at, and by the way, red, period. Brown, you can get a really good looking one in brown. I'm looking at one right now. It's absolutely beautiful. I ain't feeling it, man. I'm not feeling it. They'll use all kinds of cool words like, oh, it's got a velvety chocolate, whatever. Sold for that much. When people say things like, oh, hey, it's definitely like red brown. If you're going to collect pennies, spend the money, get red, period. If the penny is still like bright copper red, you're good to go. If it's kind of more of a cherry color, great. If it's brown, starting to turn brown, it's brownish. Even though there's no wear on it, it's in perfect condition. No bueno, man. It's not what you want. You want them to be red. Well, if you're stacking pennies, I mean, I guess these are copper, so they do have a value. But, again, the thing is, what I want somebody to buy this collection who says, okay, you know what? I'm going to sell 1,000 of them, 1,500 of them, and I'm going to keep 400 or 500 for myself. The ones that I want for my collection. Great. There are going to be some that are extremely rare wheat pennies that probably aren't in here. And when I say probably, I haven't gone through most of these. Most of them I haven't gone through. There are a couple rolls that are in there that are still pre-1958. I haven't even opened. I pulled aside a little bit to see what the date was on them, but that's it. Because I just wanted to see, like, some of these are still in bank rolls from the 50s. So, do I think there's enough to pay for 100 ounces of silver? Yeah. With almost 2,000 of them, even if you only had an average of $5 a piece, and there are a couple in there that are clearly worth upwards of several $100s, you're going to do just fine. You'll make a lot of money. Now, the reason I'm not doing it is because I simply, absolutely do not have time. I cannot do this anymore. So I told one of my daughters, look, do you want to go through this and make a ton of money? And she said, absolutely. That's been a year ago. And so if she's not going to go through it, then that's cool. No problem. Just one of those things. My son has the attention span of a CC fly, so I know he's not going to do it. He has no interest in it. So that's fine. I'm going to sell them. And I'm going to make sure that there's plenty of money for somebody to make. So if you're just sitting at home picking your nose, you're on disability, or you're just, there's some reason that you've got some time on your hands, you may as well make some money. And there's plenty to be made here. So let's do this. Let's go to Zero Hedge. By the way, we won the war. I don't know if you were told that or not. Apparently there's a thing where some people are shooting at some people in the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know what that's about, but whatever. 34 silver dollar. What's a peace dollar? 32, 34? I don't remember. I got a whole stack of peace dollars right here. They're beautiful. I've got some peace dollars and some Morgans if anybody's interested. 34. Okay, so I got a whole bunch of them. It's funny that I'm a numismatist and I can't remember, but I that's not my thing anymore. Once I get back into it, kind of jogs the memory. But really, if you said, "Hey, look, let's get into collecting coins right now," and I want a really good collection, I'd be hard pressed to give you a thumbs up on that. Pennies are one thing. Even Morgans. Morgans. There's so many Morgans out there that they're affordable. But if you said, look, I want an entire collection of Morgans, all 133 of them, 134, whichever it is, and I want all the major years, all the major mint marks, and I want them all in a mint state 67. Okay, you're looking at $1.5 million, maybe $2 million. But all right, let's do it. If that's really what you want, because at that point, clearly you're obviously very wealthy. You can have whatever you want. If you're thinking, I want to get into coin collecting as an investment, and I think I'm going to start with some of the more rare gold coins. Don't do that. Don't do that right now. There are times when the rare coin market really goes off, and you'll know those times because you'll tune into my channel and I'll be talking about them, because then it's time. That would be if we come out of this. And when I say if we come out of this, I'm talking about the absolute shitstorm that the United States is going to be in for the next couple of years. Then we will probably go into a time where there's plenty of time for that. So, and it's not, it's never a bad idea to collect. You got to be careful. You got to watch the values. Best way to collect coins is to have a lot of money. Monetary metals. By the way, for those of you who are thinking about buying silver from somebody other than me, well, okay, there's lots of reputable people out there. They're going to absolutely screw you on the price. Just be aware of that. I will not. They will. And that's a fact. We can go on AppMex any day. We can go on Money Metals. I'd say monetary metals or Republic, whatever it is, or Swiss America, or any of these bullshit companies. Amex is good. Money Metals Exchange is legit. But there are a lot of them that won't show you prices. They won't show you the prices because they want you to call. And then they want to talk to you about your IRA and how they can put gold and silver in your IRA, which is true. But then the way they want to do it is they want you to send the money. They'll hold on to your stuff for you. They'll charge you fees and interest on holding it. And then, of course, they may have it, they may not. There's really no way to tell if they're going to actually keep your metal in their safe or not. And I don't like that at all. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. And that's a fact. So remember that. If something like, and I see it all the time. I see it pisses me off, but I get it. You go on to something like Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or any of these guys, any of these big players, and you see that, okay, yeah, they've got somebody that they're repping for. They're shilling away for somebody. The problem is, how do you pay Candace Owens? How do you pay Tucker Carlson $50,000 a week or $100,000 a week to do your advertising without jacking up your prices through the ceiling? You don't. So are they legit companies? Absolutely. Is their overhead absolutely miserable? You bet. Hurricane Ron, how are you, buddy? I see you on there. So yeah, the amount of overhead that they carry, they got to pass it on to you. They don't have any choice. The amount of overhead that I carry, it's not much. It's not much. And I do that on purpose. Keep the overhead low. I'll bet you are. I know your situation, Ron. And I'll bet you're doing great. So if you're gonna get into silver, and right now is really a good time. And did you do wheat pennies also? Yes, I did talk about them. I still have them, but I did talk about them. There are some things that people aren't looking at that are sort of follow-ons that you can't ignore. And again, I talked about this yesterday, but I can't really push this narrative enough that the oil tankers that are lined up in the Gulf of America, the hundreds of them, how are you going to sell them? Well, the pennies, all at once. I already told the guy that I would take 100 ounces of silver at 75, so 7,500, which I think there's a lot more than $7,500 worth of pennies here, so it's definitely a fair deal. It actually could become sort of a cottage industry for you or somebody in your family. I actually had a guy buy a huge amount of coins from me once. This was, 20 years? No, 17 years ago. I just had this massive coin collection that I bought from a guy. Some really odd shit in there. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. And then there was a bunch of foreign stuff. And, I bought it from him because he had a few coins I wanted. And then the rest was just like, whatever. I put an ad in I think it was Craigslist at the time. This guy comes over and turns out very large commercial real estate developer. He buys these coins from me. And I said, what are you going to do with these? I mean, he's got no time. He said, well, my mom is retired. She's been feeling a little under the weather and she's just at home. And I know she's got interesting coins. And I just thought, this would be fun for her. Like she's gonna find a coin, then she's gonna look it up, and then make a little note about what it is, where it's from, what year it was made, what it's made out of, and then she'll get another coin. And he said, you've got 1,000 coins here. This could keep her busy for months. And I thought, well, what a cool son, It's like, yeah, you could have her do Scrabble. word puzzles until she goes blind, or buy her a magnifying glass and a huge amount of pennies from throughout history from all around the world. Cool. So anyway, all right. So the situation we're in, we've got hundreds of tankers. Now, here's the sad part: is I don't think people realize what Trump is bragging about right now. Like, he's out there bragging. We got hundreds of tankers just lined up. Okay, great. What does that mean? Well, that means that all of those tankers that are lined up for miles. So it's the biggest, most beautiful line of tankers you've ever seen. The biggest, most bigly line of tankers ever. It's beautiful. Those tankers are going to compete with you for that gas. Yeah. That oil either goes to you or it goes on a tanker and goes to Indonesia. Well, does that mean you have to get into a bidding war? Yeah, that's absolutely 100% what it means. You get to bid against every other country in the world, which is now in a major energy shortage. The world's largest energy shortage in history. That's what everybody's calling this. Everyone agrees. Righty, lefty, conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. Everybody agrees. Oh, shit. That's what we're saying. Oh, shit. There's like 5 people in the United States that aren't saying that, and they're being paid extremely well to not say that. So we've got this huge energy shortage. The United States has just officially declared itself the gas station of the world. And so the question is, do prices for, West Texas crude, do they go down? No. Of course they don't. Why would they? Well, because it's our oil. It's not your oil. Whoever pulls it out of the ground, it's their oil. And by the way, every time they pull a barrel of oil out of the ground, they get a tax write-off. Yeah, they being the big oil companies. They get to write that barrel of oil off because it depreciates the value of the well. They actually get to pull oil out of the ground, and when they pull it out of the ground, they sell it, but then they take that equal amount of money and write down the value of the well for that same amount, because that oil is no longer in the well, therefore the well's worth less. Duh. So do they not pay taxes? Well, no, of course they don't. I mean, first of all, it costs about $14 just to get that shit out of the ground. So $14 right there. Now, on top of that, you're depleting the well. So, we can make our own fuel. We can make our own fuel. When you say we, who are you talking about? Who's we? You got a mouse that's a farmer? Half the nation has electric cars. Yeah, that's funny. You really think it's half, huh? What's the percentage of electric cars on the road in the United States today? You were close. Missed it by this much. It's actually 1.4%. But yeah, half is a good guess. We're quite capable of our families. I don't know what the hell that means. We're quite capable of, taking care of our families. Nah, come on, Jamie. Don't be like that. It said between 1.4 and 2.1. That's almost half. I mean, give or take 48%. So yeah. Out of 292 million cars and trucks on the road, hell, over 4 million of them are electric now. Woo! Frosty's drunk. I'm calling it. No, no, you don't get to play that card on me there, pal. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you're older than me. I'm obviously just barely out of my 30s. But see, brother, if you can't spell old, you're old and drunk. Don't lie. It's okay, man. Hey, we all have issues. I like hot women that are demons. It's the thing. I don't know. Okay, so let's see. Let's get back to zero hedge, man. Let's figure out what's going on in the world, and because we won the war. Wow. A grape festival without the G. A horrifying blank festival sparks worldwide outrage. Of Nigeria have ignited shock and horror after appearing to show groups of men chasing, stripping, and essaying women in broad daylight during the National Fertility Festival in the country's southern Delta state. Oh. Yeah, the fatigue is real, guys. The fatigue is real. Wow. Oh, hey, look, an Iraqi father is arrested for beating and imprisoning his daughter in Italy over forced marriage. You know, when Trump calls countries like this shithole countries, it really offends me. That's not okay. And by the way, that's not misinformation there, Tic Tac. Don't go crazy on me. I didn't say that. Trump did. I'm actually down with this. I think, look, if you're going to have girls, let's be honest. We all want boys. Nobody wants to have girls. But if you're stuck with a girl, female child, you should at least be able to trade her for something of value, if you can. I mean, if she's not ugly. So, because that's really all that matters with women is their looks, right? Or their ability to keep their mouth shut and cook. So, I can almost feel the hatred coming through my phone right now. And there are going to be women who have already signed off that don't realize that I'm joking. And they're probably on their way to my house right now. Yep. With duct tape and not very sharp pencils. So, Ida. That's a cool name. I would have so much fun if my name were Ida. Especially if my last name was Ayada. Ayada. Hello, John. John joined, just so you know. It says number 14. I don't know what that means, but there's also like a peach next to his name. What the hell is it? TikTok does some really odd stuff, really weird shit. David, you nailed it. Idaho. I believe it. There are treatment programs for that. Okay, well, that's good. Exactly. I don't blame her. She probably wandered in here thinking, oh, hey, look, it's a normal channel. Heard me making jokes about how to get rid of female children so that you have something of value. Woo! All right. Iran's pain threshold. Well, there's a real under talked about issue. Oh yeah, they cut me off quick. When I get rolling, they're like, "Hey, that's misinformation," and then I go, "No, it's not," and they go, "Oh yeah, it's not," and then they let me go back on. But they usually wait about an hour, hour and a half before they let me go back on until it's too late. Until it's too late at night and nobody's going to be on. So it's a thing. I get it. They're playing their little game here. Kudos to them. I'm trying to do my job. They're trying to do theirs. Uh, I'm all about educating and trying to teach people some things that they didn't know. And they're all about making you eat goy slop and believing fantasies. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when Larry Ellison's hand chops you off, it's bam. Now let's go to Cuba. I'd love to, man. Hilda Martin Grant. Yeah, it does. Get a ring to it. Yeah, I would love to go to Cuba. I mean, I don't know how they feel about us right now because, we are destroying their country. What was left of it after we've been destroying it for years and years and years. So I feel bad. I do. I feel bad for the Cuban people. They're cool people. Wow, New York parole bill could free some of the state's most notorious killers, David Berkowitz, Mark David Chapman. Let him go. Let him go, man. Let's let's tell them that they'll be famous if they get the worst people among us. What was that horrible joke I heard? I don't. Oh wow! If he's there, that's. Yeah, I mean, Cuba's a beautiful island with a lot of cool people on it. I just think that the idea that we're going to make sure that people die because we don't like a few of the people in their government. That just it doesn't make any sense to me. BB is free. No, well, he won't be. When he enters the next life, I have a funny feeling he'll be in one of the concentric circles of Dante's Easy Bake. Pretty sure of that, because that is one evil human being right there. There is nothing good about that man. And luckily, a lot of people in Israel are starting to see that. They're really beginning to see that this guy's not a good human. It is. It's a lot bigger, but it's very cool. What is America's beef with Cuba? Fidel Castro. Now I know you're thinking, well, so what? He's dead. He's been dead for years. Yeah. And then Raul Castro took over for him, and he made some reforms. The new government has made lots of reforms. You're allowed to own your own business now. It's not communist. You're allowed to own your own business. They actually are trying to get people to start businesses. It's a very different place than it was. They're changing over time. You don't change an entire country overnight, but they're working on it. But we just, we want that country. We want that country to basically get on its knees and kiss our ass. And Marco Rubio, grew up in Florida, and he's been paid off by Cubans who are immigrants here. Now, keep in mind, if you're wealthy enough to pay off a politician, then you really don't have anything to bitch about because you're rich. I haven't been to Cuba yet. You're rich. You have nothing to complain about, but they're complaining. They want that island to be their island again. And so what they want is they want to take over Cuba. Well, you can't take over somebody else's country. Well, yeah, but they used to live there. Well, the oldest among them did, yeah. And, during the, early 80s, 1980 maybe, flotilla where Fidel Castro said, hey, look, if you're a criminal, Go to America. And literally, he sent all of like everybody in the prison. Speculation. Not really, is it? I mean, what am I speculating about? He sent a lot of criminals over here. I think that a lot of people that are in southern Florida are very, very wealthy, and they have made it very clear, and Marco Rubio has made it very clear to them publicly in his public statements that, yeah, I want to break Cuba. I want Cuba to get in line with the United States and do what we tell them to. Well, I imagine part of that is that all the oldest, richest among the Cubans get to go back and buy up everything. Yeah. Hey, that's what Maduro did. That's why he pissed everybody off. Triagua, that's not a criminal multinational drug cartel. That's stupid. It's a street gang. It's a street gang. And that's what we called it in the press, in the media, right up until they decided that, hey, we could use an excuse, really any excuse. It doesn't have to be a good excuse. It could just be a shit excuse. But we need some kind of excuse to go into a sovereign nation and take out their ruler and steal all their resources. Like, how would we do that? Oh, let's blame it on their gangs. Well, you can't really call them gangs. That's kind of weak. Oh, because we just deport them. Okay, let's say that all of our cocaine comes from there. Well, that's not true. Okay, let's say the fentanyl comes from there. Most Americans are stupid. They don't know that fentanyl comes from Mexico, and it's sent to Mexico in its basic ingredients by China, who, by the way, was fighting fentanyl with us. They were fighting the fentanyl war with us right up until this woman, Nancy Pelosi, I think her name is. She decided to go from Indonesia and make a stopover in Taiwan. And the Chinese Communist Party said, hey, recognizing the Taiwanese government when you're the third most important person in the United States under Biden, that's really kind of a kick in the face to us. You really want to make us lose face like that? And Biden said, nope. So he called Nancy Pelosi and said, look, you can't do that. You can't just stop in Taiwan. You're literally recognizing them as a sovereign nation. You're kicking sand in China's eyes. Don't. And Nancy Pelosi said, let's see, Biden. No, I don't know who you are. Go fuck yourself. And she said it was because of her legacy. She stopped on her way back from Indonesia in Taiwan. Yep. Embarrassed the hell out of the Chinese Communist Party. And so do you know what they did the very next day? They said, oh, by the way, all the restrictions we've put on the chemicals that we won't send over to Mexico anymore because we know they're using them to make fentanyl. We're taking all those restrictions off and we're sending as much of it as they want to buy. And boom, fentanyl through the ceiling again, instantly, overnight again. Well, gee whiz. Isn't that special? Nancy Pelosi decided her ego was more important than 118,000 people a year dying in the United States. And they made it very clear. If you do that, we're not going to help you with your little drug problem. And yeah, we do sell a lot of drug precursor chemicals to Mexico. But here's the best part. How much did the Mexicans have to pay politically for accepting all that stuff, turning it into drugs and running it across the border to us? Zero blowback on the Mexicans. We attacked the Venezuelans instead. You know why? Because Gloria Scheinbaum. Yeah. That's not a very Mexican last name, is it? No, it's not. Scheinbaum. Shine bomb. What nationality is that? Interesting. Well, anyway, bottom line is we don't have a problem with Mexico. Yeah. Well, they ain't Polish, I can guarantee you that. By the way, did you hear about the Polacks? Man, my people can do some cool shit sometimes. They decided no more income tax. Yeah, so all that shit that Trump promised us and then lied to us about and never, ever, ever did, they're actually doing it. They're getting rid of, they're abolishing their income tax. Man, come on. I mean, what's going on here, folks? This is craziness. Let's see. All right. Well, it looks like we're gonna have. It looks like we're gonna have one hell of a civil war over in Europe here soon. I've been saying that for 2 years. Is that leaves covering all that wall? Are those leaves covering all that wall? Not impressed. I'm gonna have to help you with your syntax and your spelling. But yes, those are leaves covering that wall. At least quote texting retires. At least quote texting retire. Are those leaves covering all that wall? Yes. If you get time, watch To Kill Irishman. I've heard it's pretty good. I have great syntax. I just can't be bothered. Okay. Well then, glad we settled that, huh? Yeah, there's going to be a civil war in Europe. White people are getting tired. And I don't have to tell you that there's a lot of people in Europe, like I'll give you an example, Germany, who you really don't want to piss off, and they're really getting pissed off. The last time Germany went to war, they picked everybody. It was a world war, and it was Germany against everybody. And it was a lot closer than it should have been. So my point is that it's going to be a bloodbath if that kicks off. Yeah, if that really kicks off hard, because look, you can't do what these immigrants have. Like, I see these news clippings all the time, because I'm not just watching news in the United States. I watch European news, Middle Eastern news. I watch Al Jazeera. I watch One India. I watch everybody's news because I want to know what's everybody saying. Because just the United States, that's all propaganda. Now, is India's TV propaganda for India? Yeah, but at least I can start to parse the same stories said different ways. I can start to find the truth. Germany sends Israel a lot of support. Yeah, it's called guilt. What are the immigrants doing? They're doing things to children and to specifically single women that are a life sentence in most countries. But a lot of them are not even being arrested for it because of the political sensitivity to racism. That's bullshit. You obviously don't watch the news. You live in Europe. Really? So do you live in France? Do you live in Germany? Do you live in Norway? I have friends in all of these countries. And when I talk to them, they say that they are absolutely disgusted with what's going on. You live in the United Kingdom. Okay, so are you in England? mean, United Kingdom's covers a wide variety of sins there. If you're Welsh, well, okay, maybe you don't see it as much. But if you're in England, it's lies and propaganda. Sorry, not impressed. I'm starting to smell some bullshit here. You're telling me that the thousands and thousands of Irish that I see marching in the streets, the tens of thousands of people I see marching in the street in London, those aren't actually real people. Those are fake people. You don't clearly can't stand the truth. You're a Muslim. I got you, baby. I got you. No, it's okay. I see where you're going with this. I can't stand the truth. So it didn't occur to you that maybe I'm watching something that's not true and I believe what I'm saying? Your first go-to was, I must be making this up myself. What that tells me is that you're lying and you know it, which is why you accused me of it. Nah, how am I a Muslim? Look, man, it's pretty obvious what's going on here. So you're in over your head. What protest? Look, you're on the wrong channel there, sweet pea, because not only are you way outgunned in terms of intelligence, but all the people that are on my channel are smart too. So you can start this whole, well, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no such thing as Sharia law. That doesn't even exist. What are you talking about? Genital mutilation? There's no such thing. Oh, and now the cultural, here, this is going to get good. Okay, let's see. You guys see all this? Oh, this is getting good now. Somebody's getting their feelings hurt. You can't explain it to me. Why is America fucking with Cuba? Why does America fuck with everybody? Because they're bullies. That's literally the government of the United States represents Israel. We don't represent the United States anymore. The Congress and the Senate are completely bought off and paid for, just exactly like your government. Do you actually believe that a Christian nation like, I don't know, England would want a huge amount of Muslims to come in and start taking over places like London? The number one baby name in the UK last year was Muhammad. Number one most popular name. Now, the question is, why is that? Is it just that a bunch of Anglo-Saxon Protestants decided, Muhammad's a cool name. I was thinking Skylar, but no, I'm going to go with Muhammad. Well, now don't get all crazy there, Samuel. He's made it very clear. Trump's made it very clear that he's not going to heaven. And he would not put his hand on the Bible when he was sworn in, like every other president ever. Every other president has put his hand on the Bible, including, by the way, Trump the first time. But this time, he wouldn't put his hand on it. Now, the question is, why wouldn't you put your hand on the Bible? Well, if you knew that you were going to be doing the bidding of Israel completely and wholeheartedly, 100%, you probably wouldn't want to take an oath on a Christian Bible. Oh, no, I'm not saying I'm not going to heaven. I'm definitely going to heaven. God loves me better than just about everybody else, maybe everybody else in the whole world. But what I am saying is Trump said from the podium, I saw him say it, he's probably not going to heaven. He's not a Christian. He doesn't pretend to be. At least I can give him credit for not lying about it and saying, I'm a Christian, blah, blah. Like, you look at somebody like Lindsey Graham, when he hits his knees, it's not to pray. No way. He's using his wiener cleaner for something completely different. Yeah, I know. It's funny that nobody noticed that. When Tucker Carlson brought it up, I was like, what? No, come on. I went and looked it up and I was like, oh snap. He would not put his hand on the Bible. Huh. What I mean, why? Why not? That's just so crazy. It's like, look, dude, come on. It's just you're the president of the United States, you're being sworn in. I mean, hell, a guy named Hussein put his hand on the Bible. Barack Hussein, whatever his last name was, Osama bin Laden, whatever. It was prophecy. Yeah. Well, we won't talk about which prophecy, but the bottom line is this. I don't care. I don't care. What should you do when going to China? Tell them, look, I know what you guys are up to because I'm up to the same shit. Okay, it's a dog eat dog world, and we're all trying to just screw the next guy out of as much as possible. However, having said that, let's not do something stupid like go to war. It wasn't a Trump Bible. That's awesome. With real gold inlay, signed by Jesus Christ himself. That's why they go for $79, even though he bought them for $4.50 a piece in China. Look, when you're dealing with something that sensitive, like those really thin, wispy pieces of paper, make sure that it's bound and put together by children because they have little soft hands. And he did. Had it made in China. Gilded pages made by gilded little people. So, we're in deep shit, folks. We really are. We are up shit creek with Trump as a paddle. So, I'll tell you what. I've got a little bit of silver, a little bit, that I'm willing to sell at spot price. And I was about to say, for new clients, this is to get you in as a new client. But then I realized something. That would be kind of disloyal to my old clients. So if you're a new client, call me and I'll actually sell you some silver at spot. And if you're an old client and you just want more, because I have some serious stackers. And by the way, if you're a stacker and you've been waiting and waiting and, oh, is it going to bottom out? Yeah, it did. It's bottomed out. It has bottomed out for sure. So it's time. If you're gonna get in now. And will it hit 300 by December? I'm still pretty confident about that number because at first when the war started, I was like, oh shit, this is not good. You're shutting down industrial production around the world in everything, including all the things that need silver. But then I realized that, number one, China's got to produce electronics. They don't have any choice. That is their entire New Deal. Like they have pivoted 100% to making electronics. So they're going to continue to use silver. Number two, because of this war and because of the massive, massive amount of disruption, inflation is going to be I'm going to say between 13 and 20%. I know that's a wide thing, but spot price is only $72, I think 73. $73 right now, which is not expensive at all. That's if it had just kept going up like it was last year without that huge spike in the middle, if it had just kept going up at the same pace, the exact same pace, it would be at about 70 to 73. So it's exactly where it should be. But here's my point. What happens when people start to feel this 13 to 20% inflation? Well, number one, if you don't have any money, if you have a normal salary, shift worker job at McDonald's, you're completely, totally fucked. And I hate to say that, but it's so true. Yeah, solar panels. Look, Trump says that he wants to, no matter how they do it, he wants to make 100 million solar panels. Well, that's 100 million ounces of silver. So it's an ounce per panel. So here's my point, though. If you have some money in an IRA, a 401k, a money market, anything, if it's just sitting in the bank, please understand that it is going to get at least cut in half, if not taken away from you completely. And what I mean by taken away from you is bail-ins are coming. Period. They will absolutely happen. The FDIC has already talked about it. A year and a half ago, they discussed having bail-ins. And when bail-ins happen, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no way around bail-ins. So when it's done, it's done. And if your money is in that bank, you might see it again, maybe, but you might not. And there's no guarantee, there's no insurance that says you will. See, what you have to understand is if your account is insured by the FDIC, let's say you got $100,000 in there. Well, that's under the limit. Okay. So my bank goes bankrupt and I call you and I say, listen, I just want you to know that we filed for bankruptcy. We are insolvent as of this moment. And we are going to make it up to you, though, by giving you stock in our company. The amount of stock that we're giving you is commensurate with the amount of money you had. So we're going to give you the $100,000 that you had in our bank in the form of stock. I mean, I can't think of anything I want less than stock in a bank with no money, other than maybe stock in a dairy that doesn't own cows. It's like, why would you in a million years accept that? Well, it's not about acceptance. When you signed up for your account, you signed a document that said that that's okay. You didn't read it, just like you didn't read the agreement with Apple when you got an iPhone. You just said, okay, yeah, I read it. But what it says is, as of 2008, that when you deposit money into a bank, you are no longer putting your money into their institution. You are now loaning that money to them with zero collateral. There's no collateral on your loan. So, in fact, the moment you deposit money into your account, it's their money. It's theirs. And if they pay you back, great. And if they don't pay you back, then they don't pay you back. But it's their money. It's not your money anymore. You'd be shocked how many people in the United States do not know that. They don't realize that when you put your money into Bank of America, it isn't Bank of America holding on to your money. It is Bank of America owns that money now. It's their money. Well, I mean, hopefully you're not screwed, but the reality is this: you could be, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you have money, any kind of money, that's saved up. You can't keep it in the bank. You have to be smart about this. Right now, the financial tidal wave that's coming at us is it's virtually impossible to predict all of the iterations. I can tell you this: I have looked at many of the potential outcomes of what we just did in the Middle East. Now, none of them are good. None. Not one. But some of them are catastrophically bad. Like hyperinflation, your money is completely worthless, and they force us into a digital currency, which they then watch and track like a hawk. So you can no longer buy or sell anything without the government knowing about it and or approving of it ahead of time. And what I mean by that is a lot of people don't understand this. If you went on vacation last year and you went, let's say you flew to California and you went on a cruise down to Mexico and back, and then you go to buy tickets to go to Disney World this coming year, the government can say to you, hey, whoa, you have way exceeded your carbon footprint. Like flying to California was hugely wasteful. Going on that cruise, same thing. You can't take another vacation like, oh, if you want to go to a national park and just sit on your ass and fish, go for it. But, here are the parameters. You can't fly again, not this year. You've already exceeded your carbon output per person. What? Who the fuck would do that? They're already talking about it. They're already talking about it. Now, if you don't think that a good government that's had a long history of being very fair to their people, if you don't think that government can turn on a dime and totally screw you, look at Canada. For the longest time, we looked at Canada and we were like, yeah, these guys are cool, man. They're like hockey playing drunks, but American hockey playing drunks. Like we totally relate to them. They're us. We're them. It's no difference. Yeah, they got a funny accent. We love it. And they're painfully fucking polite. And then all of a sudden, during COVID, they get truckers who are pissed off about how this COVID thing and their policies that they started making are destroying their income. They're destroying their lives. They're losing their homes. They're losing their trucks. They're losing everything over these policies that don't make any sense. So they decide to protest. And guess what? The government steps in and seizes their bank accounts. Wait a minute. That's my money. Not today, it isn't. No, I made that money. I worked for it. I worked for that money. I put it in my... Look, that's not even a national bank. That's a private bank. Yep, but we're the government. So the government can just take over a bank and take your money? Apparently. Now, could that happen in the United States? Of course it could. Of course it could. There were Americans who were donating to, GoFundMe. And they were putting money into people's accounts for GoFundMe because their own checking accounts had gotten frozen for a peaceful protest. And guess what? The government leaned on GoFundMe and had them seize the money. Their whole thing was, look, we are going to starve you. You have a wife, you have a husband at home, you have children, you have a mortgage payment, you have a couple of car payments, you have a health insurance. Fuck you. You're going to lose it all because you don't agree with the policy we made. And well, what's your policy based on? A guess. You just have to trust the science. Wait, don't you have to test the science? No, we don't test science. We trust it. Okay, but I don't think you're right. Nobody gives a shit what you think. Do what you're told. That was the first time we saw that in modern history. Now, did it happen in the 30s in Germany? Hell yeah. Did it happen in the 30s in Italy? Yep. Did Franco do it in Spain? Yep. Well, that's pretty wild. But it happened here in this century? Yeah, it sure did, right here in North America. So if you don't think that could happen to you, think about this. If you voted for Donald Trump, you know what the Democrats are capable of. And they will get back in power shortly. Now, if you're a Democrat and you know what the Republicans are capable of because you're watching it right now, this guy's just making shit up out of whole cloth. He thinks he's the king of fucking America. Then you know what the Republicans are capable of. And see how it's kind of funny when you look at it from these different angles. You see the same exact problem, right? But we all have our own reason for believing that it's the other people's fault. But the reality is, it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, this is the system. Call yourself whatever you want. I mean, you can call yourself anything you want. It doesn't matter. You're in this system, and this system operates a certain way. That's it. Now, do you want to fix it? Well, okay, that's going to take a while. In the meantime, the best way I can think of to be in a position to fix it is to survive what we're about to go through. If you lose everything, on the one hand, you'll be free to do anything. So there's that to consider. If they take everything away from us, we are all loose cannons. However, I don't think they will. I think they'll take as much as they can, as fast as they can. And the moment we start to squirm, squeal, yell, protest, it'll stop just for a little bit until we calm down. And then they'll take a little more. And then we'll squeal and they'll calm down. And the reason that it's being done that way is because they don't want to depopulate the earth. These Epstein types don't want to get rid of everybody. And the reason they don't want to get rid of everybody is because you're the cannon fodder. You're the ones who go out and do the hard work so they can just use you and make money on you instead of having to do the work themselves. So they don't want to depopulate the earth, but they also don't want you to get too big for your britches. And one way to do that is to keep, who are they? Well, right now it's 535 people in Washington, D.C. That would be all the senators, all the congressmen, and the Supreme Court. I think altogether it's about 535 people, right? And they have already decided that they know what's best for you. You are a child trapped in a grown person's body, but you have the mind of a child. And that's just that. That's all there is to it. So, they're gonna take care of you. You'll thank them later, and that's it. If you want out of that system, there's only one way out: precious metals. Period. That's it. Buy silver from me and have it sitting there. And so when they say, "Oh, you can't buy those," well, what? Well, you can't buy ivermectin. What do you mean I can't buy ivermectin? My God, that stuff seems to cure everything. I mean, hell, now they're talking about doing studies where it seems to be effective against certain types of cancer. Yeah. And it obviously worked on COVID. In retrospect, it was fantastic. Yeah. But they told you if you go try to buy it, you're buying horse paste and it will kill you. And my doctor, who took it himself because he was 87 years old when he got COVID and he thought he was going to die for sure the first day. He was like, "Look, man, I couldn't catch my breath." He took the ivermectin. 4 days later, he was practicing. He was ready to go back to work. And I said to him, "So if I get COVID, like they told me, I'm a dead man. If you're over 50 and you get it, you're dead." And he said, "Look, I can't give it to you, man." And I said, "Why not?" He goes, "Because if I sell you, if I give you a script and you go get it from a pharmacy, the pharmacy will then report that script to the feds. And then the feds will come and see if you have a passport. And if you don't have a passport and travel plans to a country where you need ivermectin, they will come and take my license away." But wait a minute. You're talking about bureaucrats who don't know anything about medicine. Yeah. and a doctor who's been practicing for 50 years all over the world, in the worst parts of Africa, in the worst parts of like Bangladesh. This dude's a badass. And he's saying, look, this will work. Okay, well, you're the doctor. Yeah, not in this case. Whoa. No, it's not about population control, Troy. Look, every idiot like you, every idiot like me, we make them money. Pay your taxes? Good. Because guess what? I got kicked off of here yesterday. You know what it was for? That I said we send our tax money to Israel. Well, we all know that. And let's just do this just so I don't get kicked off again. How much money does the United States send to Israel every year in aid? Okay, well, just in foreign military grants, we give them $3.3 billion. We give them $500 million for joint missile defense. Very well worded. They don't go into the rest. Oh, this is just military aid. It's just so we give them basically $4 billion in military aid. This is a country who doesn't have to pay for their university, doesn't have to pay for their medical care. I mean, come on, man. They help us too. No, they don't. They've never helped us with anything. APAC's illegal corporate cannibal. Yeah, well, look, we give them money and then they give it back to APAC. What? 70 fatality rates for 70 plus was about 2 or 3%, not 100%. No. When I finally looked after the fact, and you know what I saw? I was shocked. It was 0.06% of men my age group that were healthy died of COVID. 0.06%. Okay, so wait. 1% would be 1 out of 100. 0.6% would be half of 1 out of 100. 0.06 would be, wait, is that even possible? It's that small? Yeah, it's that small. But what about guys with pre-existing conditions? That's everybody in my age group. Oh, okay, well, that's weird. I was told that like everybody died of it. No, we were lied to big time. We were supposed to be terrified. And initially I saw them digging mass graves in New York. You remember that? Outside of hospitals, like over in parking lots across the street and shit, they were digging up these long mass graves that everybody's ICU was overflowing. No, they weren't. That was a lie. 7 out of 10,000. There you go. Oh, I remember all kinds of crazy stuff. I remember all kinds of crazy stories, but you know, that's the point, Mike, is that hindsight's always 20/20. So when are we going to learn that we keep seeing the same pattern in our rear view over and over again? Well, there's only one way we can see the same pattern in our rear view, and that's if we're going through the same pattern over and over again. So let's stop looking in the rear view and start looking out ahead of us and going, okay, here comes another one, just like the last one, but this one's a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing. Let's start doing that, okay? So there's going to be lockdowns. What? Yeah, well, we're going to have to do lockdowns. Well, like you can't leave your house? Well, you can leave your house. You just can't leave your neighborhood. Gasoline. But we've got tons of it. Yeah, well, we've got tons of it, but we're selling it to other countries. Well, that should make the United States rich. No, it won't, because the people of the United States don't get any benefit from selling oil. Only the oil company stockholders will make money on this. And oil field workers, they're going to make a ton. So this tiny little percentage of people in the country, like out in the West Texas oil fields, they're going to make a ton of money. You? No. Not going to happen, man. Wow. No. Come on, Eddie. Everybody's goy slop is poisoned. There's a reason for that. Haven't you ever heard of kosher? Eat kosher. Now I get it. Kosher is more expensive, but maybe if you weren't such a lazy Gentile, maybe you could afford better food. It's crazy. It's really crazy, man. Anyway, so got the pennies, got silver. I'm willing to sell some of it at spot. So call me because I want some new customers. And I also want some of my existing customers to get more while it's down here because it's going to go up. Look, when you hit 13, 14, 15% inflation, we know what happens. Everybody gets scared and they run to hard assets. Well, you can't run to the only other hard asset class there is, which is real estate. Real estate's insane and nobody can buy it. That's the problem with the situation we're in. Look, if you're in normal times, when this happens, you run to real estate, you buy up some real estate, and you watch it double over a few years because of inflation. Good for you. It's already done that, though. If you're in something like gold and silver, number one, you don't have to spend $200,000, $300,000. And by the way, financing is going to be very, very difficult because right at the time when you want them to open up some credit and really help people get through this, that's when banks will tighten up. They don't want to loan money to losers. So if you're a loser, and by the way, when I say loser, I mean anybody with a FICO score of under about 800 is a loser to them. It's just not going to happen. They're just not going to do it. And of course, we've also got this other problem, which is commercial real estate's failing miserably. And so all of the small to medium size banks, that's where most of your commercial paper comes from. It's not the big banks like Citicorp. They're not the guys who have all of the paper. So all of those medium-sized banks are about to just get crushed. It's going to be a very tough few years. That's why I keep saying, I don't care if you have $1 billion or you've got a few $100. Buy some silver. Buy some silver. Look, if you've taken my advice during COVID, when I was saying buy some silver, let's say you'd spent $10,000 on silver at 14, and now it's at 70, 73. 14 to 73. Yeah, that does beat the S&P 500 index, and it does beat the New York, the Dow, and it does beat NASDAQ even. All on something that your great-great-grandpappy would have invested in. Not bad. So anyway, yeah, it's been flailing, but it's circling the drain now. It's these people have to refinance, which again is another problem because the United States of America has $9 trillion in debt that has to be refinanced, and now nobody wants our debt. China's not buying it. They're using it as a weapon. They're selling it. China or Japan can't buy it. They're having to sell it in order to support themselves. So all of our favorite buyers of our debt can no longer buy our debt. And now we have all of this huge amount that we have to refinance. If nobody wants it, that means we have to pay much higher interest rates on our bonds. And who's going to buy them? If you have a pension fund, you're going to buy them. I can definitely ship to Maryland. And normally it's 100, but I'll tell you what, give me a call tomorrow. I'll work with you. If it's less than 100 ounces, that's fine. I just want people to get some silver now. So, yeah, give me a call. My number is in my bio. You can send me a text. If I see a phone call from Maryland, I'll assume that you're not trying to sell me an extended warranty for my car. I hope. Get a lot of those calls every day. Anyway, you guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Where are we at there, YouTubes? Oh, what do we got here? Earlier today, International Energy Agency agreed 400 million barrels. Jesus. Woof. That sounds like so much, but you know what? It's not. That's 400 million barrels should last, I don't know, what, a week? That's crazy. Well, you know, it is what it is. Just get ready. And I hope you don't drive something that's a gas guzzler. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.